Yeah, she's brilliant. Terry Rogers, great event. But great show memories really for me was coming over to America to work in Branson, Missouri. I worked at the Moon River Theater with Jimmy Osmond and his brothers. That was truly incredible. That was in 2016 and 17. And I met up with a couple of fellow vents. So we had Todd Oliver came.
Yes.
He came with his mum, and Jay. Just trying to think. So it was just trying to think. There's a couple of Jim Barber, not Jay. Sorry, Jim Barber came, and this was quite funny because I noticed that when the Osmonds had friends in the audience or entertainers from the strip, they would always acknowledge that they were there. And so I wanted to be professional. Right, one night I knew Jim Barber was in the crowd, so I come on and do my set, and then say, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to acknowledge one of my heroes, the great ventriloquist, Mr. Jim Barber. And so Jim stood up and took a bow, and the audience, gave him a lovely round of applause. I was so sweet. And he sat down. I finished my act and introduced the Osmonds. And the Lennon sisters, a very famous American group, were on next. And then they came out, and I was in the dressing room, and I heard the Lennon sisters say, "We have a friend in the audience tonight. His name is Jim Barber. Please stand up, Jim." And I heard the audience cheering for Jim Barber, and he had to stand up again. And so they were all applauding. And so I'm in the wings to the show, and then Jimmy Osmond is on stage, and the lights go up. I thought, oh, what's going on now? And he says, "I'd like to acknowledge a friend in the audience tonight." And I thought, oh no, did he not hear me? And he went, "Jim Barber, would you stand?" He stands up for a third time. So Jim's up, and Jim got more applause than I did that night. And I was working, but
oh man,
Jim deserved it. He's a great vent. Yeah. I really do cherish other ventriloquists. I respect great vent acts, original great vent acts that paved the way for us, and just they're brilliant. It's such a great art that we're in. It's fantastic. Yeah, that's why the vent convention is brilliant to go to, because you get to see something brand new all the time. When I was there, I saw Nick Paolo, you had on your show recently.
Yes.
And I remember Nick specifically because he had this caveman. I was in hysterics. He was brilliant. He was fantastic. So you always remember the greats. That's good. This is something that I had Stephen Hewlett. It's got no date on it, but it must have been in the early. I think it's 1990. North American Association.
Yeah, the NAAV. Wow.
Yeah, but look how many members there are. 20,744.
That's amazing.
Really? There's about 4 now, isn't there?
Yeah, I know we have the IVS. It's run by Tom Crow. That's phenomenal.
A brilliant Tom, and they just change the letters every year, don't they?
They have a new member card every year. Well, so, but yeah, they're making some great content, and it's neat because even if you don't go to the convention, you kind of see what everyone's up to, and you're able to be inspired through, the online newsletters, which is always great. But the convention, what I love about the convention, and the first year I got to go, I was so excited. I won the Terry Fader Scholarship, which is the only reason why I got to attend, because my parents wanted me to work for it. And I'm very
congratulations, well done.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a neat experience. But I got to meet Jim Barber and talk with him and get pictures with him, and it's just such a great community that fosters young talent, and everyone's so willing to share and to help, and it's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, I met Jimmy Nelson there in 2003, and that was incredible. Bless him. It was that's why I met Kelly Asprey. I've got my book here as well. Kelly Asprey, we sadly lost last week. Who wrote that book? Jimmy Nelson. Jeff Dunham signed that book. A few of them signed that, actually. Can we do an auction? So that's just an incredible book. But it was a wonderful place. I was 28 when I went, and it was the 100th birthday of Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy. I remember Alan Seamock played W.C. Fields, and it was just a brilliant tribute show to Edgar Bergen they put on about his radio show, you know. And yeah, they always make it special. Really do there at the convention. Mark Wade is a genius, isn't he? Mark's fantastic.
I can't imagine all of the work that he does just to make the convention run so smoothly.
No, I think they're doing a online thing, aren't they, for one day this year? I believe
they are. Yes, yeah. I have I'm doing a little puppet building workshop thing in it. Yeah,
that means I can go. so I'm going to be there.
Yeah, I'll talk a little bit about being original and creating characters or having them created, and share some tips on where you can go to create your own puppet while you're in quarantine. So I've been working on that. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Wow. That's a good idea.
Could you talk a little bit about comedy in the UK versus comedy outside the UK? Did you notice a difference when you started touring, or not really?
Yeah, I do. When I went over to the States for the first time, Jimmy Osmond watched me the first night, and although I did get laughs, some people he told me asked me if I could slow down a bit, and so I wasn't driving home. It was literally the accent. You know, I was talking too fast when I done the show. Can you understand me now? I should have asked you earlier. Yeah. Yes. So Jimmy said, "Can you just slow down a bit?" They loved the content, they loved what you did, the visual stuff, but just slow down. And the second night I went out, I slowed down what I was doing, which means I do longer. Surely he didn't want that, but he loved it. So the second night, and from then on, I just tried to respect your audience and just sort of learn by it. So you just have to go by what they need, and so it was just really just changing a few words in my act that would suit. You talk about the obvious pavement and sidewalk and things, but there's only a few words that I changed. I don't talk about the sidewalk or pavement, so I didn't need to. Right. It's different, but I've always loved American comedy. Seinfeld. We always watched Friends over here, so all those sitcoms. Robin Williams, I love. Great comedians. Steve Martin, Stephen Wright. Lots of people called Stephen. It's really funny. But a lot of my humor, really, I think it just watching American ventriloquists for 30 years now. But when I was in my teens, I was just watching American comedy most of the time. I love that style of comedy. I get it. I really get American humor. Saturday Night Live and all that. It's just fantastic. So, and this is brilliant for me. I've never been interviewed in America before. So this is like my late show, really.
Yes,
this is my early show. This is now.
This is like Landon live, late at night.
late and early for me. Wow. So it's an honor to be on your show, mate. But
thank you.
It's I was always watching American comedy. I love it. But over here, we're just very laid back. In England, I think it's can be quite difficult. I've done so many American ships, where there's American audiences in, and my actors got different reactions in different places, which is really throws you when you're used to doing the same show in the UK, and the Americans would laugh at you differently, and the Canadians would get different things, and they would applaud. Whereas normally I'd get a laugh somewhere, the Americans would applaud what I was doing. I thought, oh wow! And then I have to learn to slow down again, because I was expecting a laugh. I wasn't expecting clapping there. It was supposed to be a laugh. So, sometimes
that's really wow. I'm curious. You talked about doing cruise ships. What was that experience like, and were you ready when you had started cruise ship work?
I was 22 when I done my first cruise ship, and I only had 45 minutes, but they said, "Oh, you might have to do a late night show, which is an extra half an hour." And all I had with me extra was a Michael Jackson puppet I had no material for. I had 5 minutes with him, but he couldn't sing for 25 minutes because I couldn't sing. I should have just I should have mimed something at least. But so I went on that cruise ship, and I had an okay 45 minutes, because the cruise audiences are slightly different to the gigs at home. You get used to doing the cruise ships. They're very disciplined, And now they're in huge, beautiful theaters. And so when I go on them now, I'm ready. I love doing them because the theaters are packed and they're waiting for a show, whereas at home, sometimes in the UK, sometimes you have to fight for your audience. There's kids running about. There's fruit machines. It's like little mini Vegas casinos and things. Sometimes the bars, and the restaurants are in the same room as where you're performing. So you're fighting against a lot. But when you're on a cruise ship, they're always...
It's all controlled.
It is controlled. Yeah. You've got your own sound guy, lighting guy. You got people in the wings helping you with your props and things. The curtains, you're introduced properly. It's like you're in Vegas, so it's like you got your own show when you do a theater. That whole night, that room is yours, So it's it's fantastic, but it's every night is different on a ship. You don't know who's in the audience. It could be half Spanish and half German. Sometimes they don't tell you.
Well, you talked about how the audience was different than that you were used to. Can you talk a little bit more about that and kind of define that?
How different they are?
Yeah, like how do they seem different to you when you perform on cruise ships?
In cruise ships, because they're I tell you, for instance, when they're dressed up, they call it formal evenings. So when they're dressed up in their dicky bows and their suits, and the ladies have got big night dresses on, like they're at a ball or something, like Cinderella and all that. They've just had dinner, or they're just going to dinner and they're coming to see a show first. Sometimes they do it other way around, because you do two shows. So you do early evening and then late evening. But when it's formal evening, I think comedy acts have a tougher time, because they're all sat there, their dicky bows, and oops, there you go. Just do comedy, and they love it. They love it if you do a visual slapstick. They're sat there and they're waiting for a show, but it's like, I don't know, it's like you're on Broadway or in the West End, where when they're sat there in their suits, it's a completely different audience to when they're turning up in their shorts or their jeans, because they're more relaxed, and they're looking forward to a comedy show. I don't know what it is about the dicky bows or the dresses that turn people into people with no sense of humor, but sometimes it's more tricky to entertain them when they're full up or they're wearing a wedding dress, So
wow. Yeah, maybe they're both too constricting, so it's harder to laugh. I don't know.
Maybe they can't breathe. Maybe that's what it is. So maybe I've been thinking they're laughing, but they're all choking, possibly. So
that's phenomenal. That's interesting to hear your perspective on that. And kind of wrapping up here, could you talk about your hopes for the future of ventriloquism and for future events?
Yes. Well, hopefully the venues will come back soon. That's what we're hoping. I believe at the end of this month I've got some bookings, and so we're hoping all that's going to go ahead. And I think the mask routine, I did do the mask for a while, but I've been trying to find an excuse not to do it anymore, because many people over here do it. And so I've now got an excuse. I don't think we're allowed to do it. So I think for ventriloquism, I want to be doing my Arthur Lager show, the one I told you about. So I want to take that on the road and do some festivals around. We have Edinburgh Festival in Scotland. That's one of my goals to do. So it's to be more creative with my work. And I've got these characters made up from matte puppets for the Arthur Lager. I want to make that an actual thing that I'm known for now, something brand new that's just started this year. That would be great to actually get something. Yeah, I'd love to win an award for that. Maybe a Terry Fator scholarship or something. You could lend me yours. So
yeah.
I think for people like Terry Fator and the Got Talent franchise, I think ventriloquism is safe. I think there'll always be an event that's going to bring something new to the show. It's going to do something that's going to not shock us, but that's going to impress us. And when you see a ventriloquist, you think that they're not going to have anything new, but they seem to always come out with something new, which is great. It's always good to see something that is fresh, innovative, yeah,
Yes.
that word. So innovative. That's
Yes.
the word, isn't it? Edit it up until that point. That was good. And so I really do love seeing fresh and original ideas, and I like coming up with them. I've written loads of jokes and loads of routines and stuff, but you got to have the platform to do it. So theaters and possibly back on the cruise ships at some point.
Okay.
That's where most of the ventriloquists have been, I think,
Yes.
up until this year.
Mhm.
This year is a write-off for any performance, I believe.
It makes me wonder if in the future, because all these magic acts rely on people from the audience, if ventriloquism will be more popular on cruise lines.
Yes, well, I'm rewriting my show because I did have for the cruises. They asked if I could do the mask, and so I do put it in the second show. But you're not going to be able to use people in the audience at least for a year. I don't think so. I will. I'm rewriting the show, so I've got 2 shows without any audience participation.
Right. Wow.
So it's just purely comedy, and routines. And if I could take Arthur Lager's show on the ships, I'll do that as well as a third show, because I think you're good. If you're going to do cruise ships, they're going to want you on there for longer. I think you're going to have to do, if you're going to do a week, I think you're going to have to stay on for 2 weeks because they don't want people flying on and off again. So you're going to have to come up with more shows. I think that's where we're heading, really, even for theaters and some venues as well. But if this is just going to last till this year, then that's okay. We could go back to normal. Let's hope we do, because for young people like yourself, you just get into the business and
I've just started. Come on.
I know. Give the guys a break.
Library shows this summer.
Yeah.
It's slap in the face by the world, but
it is.
You get through it and you get back to where things are. So
yeah, definitely. But did you start this in lockdown?
Did I? Yes, I did.
You did.
I did.
So things happen for a reason, Landon, and you're landing on your feet. That's what's happened. It's really
landing on my feet.
Yeah. Well, I'm finishing my book in lockdown. I started a podcast as well. I'm talking to comedians and stuff over here. So that's a new thing that I'm doing. But
people find that podcast.
It's not out yet, so it's just I'm editing. I'm just interviewing over the next couple of months, and then I'm going to edit. It's probably going to go out in September. So,
okay, cool.
I'll let you know. It's all to do with comedy, and I'm going to try and reach out to American comedy as well, not just British. But it's really interesting. I'm talking to a lot of my favorite comics, and it's interesting to get in a different perspective. Because I love music, I love comedy, and I absolutely love ventriloquism. So it's nice to get the idea of. A lot of ventriloquists base their act on comedy, So you get the really good stand-ups like Jeff Dunham and Michael Paul. You get the really creative side like Strassman, and then you got Ron Lucas, who is the production side, the beautiful performer. Like him, Jay Johnson, but all of them are comedy. It's all comedy. At the end of the day, we're all comedians.
How would you define your style?
My style, it's it took me many years to actually to actually do comedy without the puppets. Okay. Without a character on my arm. So I started to write a lot of the comedy. Sort of in my late 20s, I think, and then I started to do some. I was doing some stuff on Britain's Got Talent. I wrote some stuff that was without the characters, but they didn't want that. They wanted to see the old man all the time. So my comedy is very silly humor. It's very silly. It's not slapstick, but it's silly jokes. I'm a bit of a punster. A few puns. I'm trying to get rid of them. But I do silly little jokes and throwaway puppets. I've got a lot of puppets that I just throw away, and I've got a couple of Axtels I just do for like 1 minute, and it's just the style that I write. Really, it's different. So I like to have the big character in my hand. I do him for 15 or 20 minutes, and then I would do like 5 to 10 minutes of stand up or throwaway stuff, then I get another big character out, and it cuts up your act, quite nicely. It makes it like it makes it like a variety show, so which is nice. It keeps it fresh and keeps it moving along, within the evening, and people don't get too bored. Yeah, I couldn't use the same character for an hour, even though I am in the Arthur Larker show, but at least he's different ages.
Right. Yeah, you can have him comment on different things throughout his life.
Yeah, it works within those decades that he's talking about, so. But so my comedy is, like I say, it's very, it may be a little bit Americanized because I really admire American comedians and ventriloquists, but I try and find my own style, and I'm hoping I've got my own style. It's a little bit different to others, which is nice. It's good if we can all be different. There's enough work out there for everybody.
Yeah, keep the art original and make your own characters and have them be original to you in your show. I love that, and I love that you were talking about too that this art will continue going, and I also think that it will eventually keep thriving, and just everyone will stick with it. So it's neat, and this is a great creative time too to create a bunch of different puppets or ideas or work on material. I mean, this is So.
Yes, it's a good time to finish my book. Now, this is no one's got one of these, by the way. This is something I had made just before lockdown, but it's never the right time to use him because here he is. Hello. Don't go to work. Go to work. Go to work. Don't go to work. Stay home. Don't go to work. Have a cup of tea. Don't drink coffee. Hello, Landon. My name's Boris. It's Boris Johnson. There he is. It's difficult to get the. There he is. Look away. Yes. Have a cup of tea, but don't drink tea. Night.
Oh, that is great.
Yeah. Guess where he's from?
Where?
So all in the costume. So so I've got Boris, but it's never really the right time to use him because we loved Boris because he used to be the mayor of London. And he's always been a wacky character, so I just thought he was perfect to use as a puppet. And then we thought, okay, he's going to be prime minister, so I got him made up. And then this Brexit thing started, so I thought, people were fed up with him, so I thought I'm not going to get him out during Brexit. So I'll wait till it's over. So I was just about to get him out, and then the lockdown happened, and then I thought, oh no, they're blaming him for everything. So if I get him out, they're going to turn on me, So I thought, and then he went into hospital. So I thought, I can't really use it now as he's in hospital. Yeah. Then he came out of hospital, and I thought, I'll get him out now and do something. And they've turned on him again. So he can't win. So I might turn him into Trump.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's funny. Wow, that's knowing your audience though, which is great because it's a full circle about knowing your audience and what is appropriate to put out there and what's not. And
make it topical,
Exactly. Yeah. Phenomenal. Well, Steve Hewlett, thank you so much for being part of Landon Live and for sharing your story.
Nice to meet you, Landon. It's been really interesting watching your talks, and it's really nice to be part of it. Thank you so much for having us. And you should have my mate Jimmy Tamley on, who taught me, because he's brilliant. Jim, he's and what you said about them passing it down to the younger generation, and looking after us. And I found that, and I've helped out younger generation as well. There's a couple of young ones up and coming, which is nice. And I'm passing it down because they done it to me. So it's really nice to pay it forward, as they say. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for tuning in, and we hope to see you next time.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.